Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Personal Growth Talks podcast. I'm your host, Henry, and I'm here with my awesome co-host, Sarah.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in today. We've got a really important and practical topic to talk about, something that affects all of us, how to stop wasting time and make the most of it.
Exactly, Sarah. Time is one of the most valuable resources we have, and yet it's so easy to let it slip through our fingers without even realizing it. We get distracted, we procrastinate, and suddenly hours are gone.
Right, and sometimes we don't even think about how much time we waste until it's too late. But the good news is, it's something we can all work on, and that's what today's episode is about.
Yep, we'll talk about why time is so valuable, how to spot common time wasters in your life, and we'll share some practical tips to help you use your time more wisely.
And since we know many of our listeners are also English learners, we'll make sure to explain things clearly, give examples, and throw in a few tips on how time management can help with your language learning goals too.
That's right. So whether you're at home, commuting, or on a break, grab a coffee, relax, and let's dive in. All right, Sarah, before we dive deep into today's topic, let me ask you something. What's the last thing you wasted time on? Be honest.
Oh, wow, Henry. Where do I start? Honestly, yesterday I told myself I'd watch just one episode of a TV show. But guess what? 4 episodes later, it was midnight, and I was still on the couch.
Oh no, Sarah. The old just one episode trap. Classic. I've been there too. I was scrolling through Instagram yesterday, just checking some posts, and suddenly an hour had gone by, and I had no idea what I'd even been looking at.
It happens so easily, doesn't it? You think you're just taking a quick break, and before you know it, time has disappeared.
Exactly, and that's kind of why we wanted to talk about this today. Wasting time is something we all do, but sometimes it can get in the way of our goals, our productivity, or even just feeling good about how we spend our day.
Right. The key isn't to be perfect all the time. We all need breaks, but to be more aware of how we're spending our time and where it might be slipping away without us realizing it.
Yep. So whether it's binge watching TV, scrolling on your phone, or procrastinating on tasks, we've all got things we can work on when it comes to time management.
And we're definitely not here to judge. After all, we just admitted to wasting time ourselves. But we are here to help you become more mindful and take control of your time.
Absolutely. So with that said, let's jump into the main discussion and talk about why time is such a valuable resource and how we can stop wasting it. All right, let's start with a big question. Why is time so valuable?
Well, Henry, I think time is valuable because it's something you can never get back. Unlike money, which you can save, invest, or earn more of, once time is gone, it's gone forever.
That's such a great point, Sarah. Time is also what life is made of, right? Every hour, every minute is part of our life. So how we use that time really matters.
Exactly. And have you noticed how successful people often talk about how carefully they manage their time? They understand that time is their most important resource.
Right, and managing your time well can help you achieve your goals, reduce stress, and even improve your relationships because you're more present and focused.
And for English learners, for example, managing time can make a huge difference in how quickly you improve. If you spend even 15 minutes a day consistently learning English, you'll be amazed at how much progress you can make over time.
Exactly. Small actions, done consistently, add up. That's why understanding the value of time is the first step in making the most of it. Now that we've talked about why time is valuable, let's look at some of the most common ways people waste time. Sarah, what do you think are the biggest time wasters these days?
Ooh, there are so many. But the first one that comes to mind is social media. It's so easy to lose track of time when you're scrolling through posts, watching videos, or checking notifications.
Totally. Social media is designed to grab your attention and keep you hooked, which is why it can be such a big time waster.
Another one is procrastination. You know that feeling when you keep putting off a task, and instead of getting it done, you end up doing something else, like cleaning your desk, checking emails, or watching YouTube videos.
Yes, that sounds way too familiar. Procrastination can really eat up your time without you even realizing it.
And then there are things like binge watching TV, overthinking, or spending too much time on tasks that aren't really important.
Right. And the tricky thing is, sometimes we waste time because we're tired, stressed, or just don't feel motivated.
Exactly. It's important to recognize when we're wasting time so we can start making small changes.
Okay, now let's get practical. What can we actually do to stop wasting time and start using it more wisely?
One tip I love is using a to-do list. Writing down your tasks for the day helps you stay focused and organized.
Yes, and prioritizing your tasks is also important. Start with the most important or difficult task first. That's sometimes called eating the frog.
I've heard of that. It means tackling the hardest task first, so the rest of your day feels easier.
Exactly. Another great tip is the Pomodoro technique. It's simple. You work for 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break. It helps you stay focused without burning out.
I love that technique. And if you're an English learner, you can use those 25-minute sessions to practice reading, listening, or even speaking.
That's a great idea. And don't forget to minimize distractions. Put your phone on silent, close unnecessary tabs, and create a quiet workspace if possible.
Yes, and be mindful of how you're feeling too. If you're tired, it's okay to take a break, but make it a real break, not just a scroll on social media.
Right, it's all about being intentional with your time and making small, consistent changes.
And remember, it's not about being perfect. We all waste time sometimes. It's just about trying to be a little more aware and making the most of the time we have.
Now, before we wrap things up, let's take a quick question from one of our listeners. This one comes from Maria, who says, I always feel overwhelmed by the number of things I have to do, and because of that, I end up doing nothing. How can I stop wasting time when I feel so overwhelmed?
That's such a great question, Maria, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. When you're overwhelmed, it's easy to freeze and avoid doing anything at all.
Yes, that happens to me too sometimes. One thing that can help is breaking your task down into smaller steps. Instead of thinking about everything you have to do, focus on just one small thing you can do right now.
Exactly. For example, if you have a lot of studying to do, start with just 10 minutes of reading or writing. Once you get started, it often feels less overwhelming.
That's such good advice. And I'd add that it's helpful to prioritize your tasks. Ask yourself, what's the most important thing I need to do today? And start there.
Yes, and don't forget to take breaks too. Sometimes when we're overwhelmed, we just need to step away, take a deep breath, and come back with a clearer mind.
Great point, Sarah. Thanks for your question, Maria. We hope these tips help you manage your time and feel less overwhelmed.
And if any of our other listeners have questions, feel free to send them in. We'd love to hear from you.
Wow, we've covered a lot today, haven't we, Sarah? Let's do a quick recap for our listeners.
And if any of our other listeners have questions, feel free to send them in. We'd love to hear from you.
Then we discussed some common time wasters like social media, procrastination, and binge watching TV. These are things that can eat up our time without us even noticing.
Absolutely. So, first we talked about why time is so valuable. Time is something we can never get back, which is why it's important to be mindful of how we spend it.
Remember, it's not about being perfect or productive all the time. It's about making small, intentional changes that help you use your time more wisely.
And most importantly, we shared some practical tips to help you stop wasting time. These include making a to-do list, prioritizing tasks, using techniques like the Pomodoro method, and minimizing distractions.
So here's a challenge for our listeners. Take a few minutes today to reflect on how you're spending your time. Identify one time waster in your life and think about one small change you can make to use that time better.
Exactly. And don't forget, even just 10 or 15 minutes a day spent on something meaningful, like learning English, can really add up over time.
Yes, and if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. It really helps us reach more people and keep creating helpful content for you.
That's a great challenge, Henry, and we'd love to hear how it goes. Let us know by leaving a comment or sending us a message.
Until next time, take care and keep growing.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone. And remember, don't waste your time. Use it wisely and you'll be amazed at what you can achieve.
Thanks again for spending your time with us today on the Personal Growth Talks podcast. We really appreciate you tuning in, and we hope you found today's episode. And if you've got a few seconds, we'd love it if you could leave us a review. It really helps us reach more listeners and keep creating valuable content just for you.
If you enjoyed this episode on time management and how to stop wasting time, please don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any future episodes.
And remember, if you have any questions, feedback, or suggestions, you can always drop us a message. We love hearing from you.
Also, feel free to share this episode with a friend or family member who might need a little extra motivation to manage their time better.
Bye for now, and remember, use your time wisely and keep growing.
Thanks again for listening, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you in the next episode.